Most people have a social event, sleep on it, and wake up more or less themselves. Maybe a little tired, an extra coffee. By mid-morning, fine. For them, socializing is something that happens and then ends, a contained event, clear boundaries on either side. And then there's this other group. They go to the dinner party, the birthday gathering, the work event. They show up, they're present, they participate, they might even enjoy themselves. And then they go home, and something very specific begins. A heaviness, a fog that a full night's sleep doesn't fully clear, a morning where the house must be quiet, where even a text message feels like being asked to run another mile on legs that already gave everything. They need the whole day, sometimes longer. The world tends to read this as a problem, some version of antisocial. Fragile, socially depleted in a way that implies a deficit. But here's what's fascinating. The science is reading it very differently. You know the exact version of this. The morning after. You're not sick, you slept a reasonable amount, and yet, something feels like it's been wrung out of you. Your sentences don't come together the way they usually do. The idea of another person in your space, even someone you love, sounds like a request your body is actively refusing. You need silence the way other people need water. What makes it harder is the specific confusion of it. Because last night looked fine. From the outside, you were there. You were present. You might have been the person holding a conversation together. Nobody in that room would have guessed how this morning would feel. And that's the part that costs something extra. Not just the social event itself, but the private aftermath nobody sees, and the quiet question it always seems to raise. Why is this harder for me? Here's what the neuroscience actually says. It isn't harder for you, it's more expensive. And there's a difference. The cultural story around socializing is built on the extrovert model. The idea that being with people is naturally energizing, that anyone who struggles with the aftermath has some kind of deficit. But this narrative has a research problem. A 2016 study from the University of Helsinki examined post-socializing fatigue across personality types. What they found was crucial. Social interactions extending over 3 hours produced fatigue in both introverts and extroverts. The difference wasn't whether people got tired, it was how tired they got and how long recovery took. Socializing has never been free. The cultural fiction is that it costs the same for everyone. The research says otherwise. Here's what's actually happening in your body during a social event. Dr. Stephen Porges, psychiatry professor and neuroscientist, developed what's known as Polyvagal Theory, a framework for how the autonomic nervous system constantly scans the environment, reading faces, tracking tonal shifts, managing impressions, monitoring group dynamics. All of this happens largely outside conscious awareness, but it carries a physiological price. Your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight machinery, stays subtly activated for the entire duration of a social event. Heart rate, slightly elevated, cortisol, released at a low, steady drip. You are not relaxing at the dinner table, you are performing, even when the performance looks effortless, even when you're genuinely enjoying yourself. And this is where it gets really interesting. Research published in Psychophysiology found something precise. The post-social autonomic recovery varies significantly between individuals. Those with higher social sensitivity take measurably longer to return to baseline heart rate variability after interpersonal interactions. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest branch, doesn't flip on the moment you get home. The transition is gradual, messy. For some nervous systems, it takes hours, sometimes a full day. Not because something is wrong, because the biology of coming down from sustained activation takes time. Now here's the part nobody talks about, and this changes everything once you understand it. The people who need the longest recovery are often the most socially capable people in the room. Psychologist Dr. Lori Helgo has noted that certain people unprocess social stimulation through a fundamentally more engaged neural pathway. They absorb body language, emotional undercurrents, the gap between what someone says and what they mean. The same wiring that makes someone a deeply attuned listener, that's the same wiring that costs more to run. You cannot extract the empathy from the exhaustion. They're the same system. And now, the part that explains why your recovery looks different from other people's. The nervous system doesn't respond to how many hours you socialized. It responds to how much load those hours required. Two people, same event, completely different biological experiences. One leaves mildly tired, one leaves depleted for an entire day. Neither is wrong. They are different receipts from different amounts of biological work. Your recovery day is not a sign that you handled the event poorly. It is the honest accounting of how fully you were present in it. So let's be exact about what that day on the couch actually is. It is not laziness. It is not fragility. It is not proof that you're less equipped than people who bounced back by 9. It is your autonomic nervous system completing the work it started, the slow, necessary transition from activation back to rest. Think of it this way. A highly sensitive instrument, one calibrated to pick up subtle signals, doesn't just absorb more information. It takes longer to process it and longer to return to baseline. This isn't a flaw in the instrument. It's the direct consequence of its precision. Your nervous system read the room, all of it. The subtext, the tension, the warmth, the undercurrents, the moments where something shifted before anyone said a word. That kind of processing doesn't stop when you walk out the door. It runs overnight, sometimes well into the following afternoon. The people who recover fastest aren't the ones who connected more. They're the ones whose systems ran a lighter scan. Your day of recovery isn't evidence of a deficit, it's evidence of depth. What looks like withdrawal is actually integration. Your nervous system sorting through everything it collected, filing it, finishing the job it started. When you walked into that room, you don't recover slowly because you care less. You recover slowly because you were more present and your body is keeping honest accounts. The next time you wake up the morning after a social event and feel like you've returned from somewhere far away, don't reach for an explanation that makes you smaller. Don't call it antisocial. Don't call it fragile. Don't perform being fine. When your nervous system is still finding its way home, the quiet you need isn't a retreat from the world. It's where your body does the work that the room didn't give it time to finish. You don't recover slowly because something is wrong with you. You recover slowly because you were really there, and your biology is keeping the honest bill. If this finally put words to something you've been quietly apologizing for, subscribe to The Quiet Healing. Every week we explore the psychology behind the traits most people are too busy explaining away to examine. And if you've ever felt completely drained after a day that didn't look hard from the outside, our video on the psychology of people who feel exhausted even when they did nothing runs through the same nervous system and connects everything. You don't owe anyone a faster recovery. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on my future uploads.